Welcome one and all to Mommy Manga. I'm Petter, and this is James.
Hello.
And today we're talking about volume 11 of A Bride's Story. So, early in this volume, we went back to the point in time when Talas and Henry first met. And we got to catch up with Talas and her journey from the start, or well, from the start of where we as readers first saw her. That took about a chapter, and once we were all up to speed, we reached the scene where Henry proposed to Talas. So they are now
Hmm.
engaged to be married. So that is very exciting. Finally.
Yeah.
Henry and Ali then learned to use a portable camera, or well, the portable camera, and started taking some photographs and whatnot. And about a week after that, Henry, Ali, and Talas, along with Hawkins' good buddy Nikolovsky, left Ankara together. And just like we had gotten a chapter with Talas and catching up with her before, this volume also gave us a chapter, a very lovely little chapter, where we got to catch up with Henry's pocket watch.
Yeah. Yeah. The mystery of the pocket watch.
Yes. And by the end of the volume, they reached Antalya, where Talas and Henry rode a big swing, and Talas also sold her clothing to a wealthy woman from Morocco.
Yep. Sold the clothes off her back, literally.
Yeah. So yeah, very Henry and Talas focused, this one.
For sure. For sure. There was like a beginning chapter that talked about the start of winter and everything like that.
Right.
But yeah, definitely a Talas focused volume, and it was good. It was good to get her perspective on things, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yes, definitely. So, well, let's not wait any longer. Let's start talking about Talas. And I agree with you. It was so nice to get to know like her thoughts about Henry, about the situation at large as well. Like during that catch-up chapter, one of the things that was in her monologue there was that like even though we know that she's been through many marriages, but with Henry is the first time that she ever felt at ease with a man.
Mm.
So I think that's pretty huge. Like that's like obviously at least a part of the reason why she has fallen for him, of course. But
Yeah.
it's nice that she's found someone that she feels so at ease with.
Yeah. And you could see her love for him grow as she just kind of saw the person he was and the way you know maybe if the mother was more of an excuse, but the way he treated her
Mm.
mother and was a good guest and things, just things of that nature. Obviously the um this volume shows that made a big impression on her, and it was heartbreaking to see when Henry was forced to leave and just see her
Yeah.
wondering if she could ever be happy again. Basically,
Right. Yeah.
um, that was pretty rough.
Exactly. And like I feel like this volume did such a good job. I guess I sort of said it just like a minute ago, but uh, prior to this volume, while I was very intrigued by Talas's character, pretty much, ever since volume 3, I didn't really feel like I necessarily knew her.
Right,
But this volume
right.
helped with that. Like I know, well, I have a pretty good understanding now of who she is as a person,
Yeah, yeah.
and that is very nice.
Well, and I honestly think, or I'm expecting to learn more about her because
Yeah.
while we do know more about her now, I feel like the nut hasn't been completely cracked. Like we don't
Hmm.
completely know all about her desires I mean, obviously she wants to be married to Henry and wants to be with him, and that's her happiness. But we also saw her talking about the feeling that she felt when on the swing, and it felt like a bird, and I didn't
Hmm.
realize that would be something that was important to her, or just the the feeling that she got from that,
Right.
and we also saw just we knew she was a hard worker, but I mean, she is go getter. I'm gonna sew this clothes. I don't
Hmm.
I don't care if I have to sell the clothes off my back. We'll do it for the good of the company.
Right.
Um, and it's yeah. So those kind of things are very revealing. But I don't know. I think there's more to see as their relationship blossoms, and maybe they won't happen in the next volume. Maybe that'll be saved because the journey is going to be long back, I assume. So I'm guessing there'll be future chapters of the travel, and maybe that's when we'll see it. But you're right.
Mm.
Before, in volume 3, whatever it was, we really were just introduced to her. It wasn't until this one where we started to see more of her. I mean, 3 did have some good moments. I mean, when she was riding the lamb, or
Right.
was it the I can't remember the situation where she had her hair out accidentally and singing and whatnot. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Right. I guess, and like speaking of like little potential seeds, or like little hints towards something that we may get to understand more about her, uh, was, well, you pointed out the swing, and that was definitely like a big thing, for her, but also like a little bit before that, Smith was telling her about how like cities that are located by the sea, tend to grow much quicker than cities that are by a river, or that aren't really by that big bodies of water.
Mm-hmm.
And she seemed fascinated by that, or like interested, definitely intrigued by that type of stuff. And I don't know if that's gonna lead to something like an interest for her in some way, or I don't know. Just a little thought I had.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she becomes like a partner in science or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know how modern or free thinking Henry or the UK was at the time. Maybe, I mean, women wore pants, so that's pretty big. Um,
Yeah.
but you remember that chapter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who knows? Like maybe she gets an interest enough, and you know puts her mind to it, and becomes a valuable scribe or research partner or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Or
Maybe
maybe
she
she
can.
becomes a traveling merchant to follow
Oh,
Henry along as he does his research.
either way, she's learning a lot and is very willing to
Mm.
learn, and seems to take it in pretty well too.
Right.
So
I'm just
she's
thinking
pretty
because
bright.
she's been selling. She like at the start of this volume, she was selling her jewelry,
Yeah,
and then she sold like the embroidery she did in Ankara, and then at the end of the volume, her clothes. So maybe she'll just continue to make a living selling things. Perhaps.
Talas, where's your arm? Oh, I sold it to that guy over there
Oh my god.
for the good of the company. Oh,
Oh no. Uh,
gotta talk before it gets that bad.
yeah.
Talk.
But yeah, apparently Talas, and her, well, I guess former husband at this point, since I guess they separated, um, they got to Ankara rather long before Smith and Ali showed up there. So I guess their trip must have been pretty smooth if they,
Yeah,
supposedly left after and arrived before. Uh, and I don't know if it's Talas or if it's her previous husband there, who may have been just very handy with traveling, or very good at traveling, or maybe they were just lucky.
maybe. I think it also had to do with Henry and Ali maybe taking long detours in places.
That's fair. Actually,
Um,
yeah, that's a good point. They did stop
particularly the
at certain villages.
particularly the bride villages that we saw. I think
Yeah, like Lila and
they
Laylee,
were
I
there
think
for a
was
good
the
amount of time.
biggest
That
one.
was pretty long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see them passing them pretty quickly after that.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how long it took for Talas to get married, but again, just huge
Mm.
shout out to the former husband. I mean, he's just
Oh yeah.
you could tell he was hurt, obviously, when she first started crying and let out her feelings, but he was pretty quick to be like, well, we got to fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah, nope, no point in carrying on. Let's 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 get to Ankara or whatever.
Right. But he did it like out of a place of caring as well, because like
Yeah,
yeah, so sweet. So sweet.
yeah, it was great. I wish the best for that man. I'll just say.
For sure. Hmm.
And yeah, it was great. everything about Talas was great in this volume, I think. And
Hmm.
you mentioned the selling of the jewelry. I wrote down she's willing to sell her jewelry for love. She
Yeah.
anything to find Henry. Like that's the only thing that mattered to her, and
Mm.
I can respect that.
Yeah, and I love also when she finally did find Henry, like
Right,
she saw him from such a like long distance, but she recognized him just by
crazy
like the way he walked and like a few other trademarks, like. And I feel like that's something you really only do with someone that you, I guess, either know really well, or I guess in this case more like care very deeply for. You've
obsessed about. I mean,
memorized.
yes, care
Yeah, and like
very deep.
you've memorized their details because you care so much.
Yeah,
I love that.
it's pretty amazing. Pretty romantic.
Yeah.
That swing was also pretty romantic too. Exhilarating.
Yeah. Oh,
Romantic.
absolutely. I loved that. It was really funny also seeing like she was really in her element. She was loving it. Like she was absolutely it was fantastic. And Henry was freaking out.
Ah!
It was, he was barely hanging on. Uh, but yeah, it was also very sweet.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Um, Talas also gave Henry a charm for luck and safety and health, which I'm sort of viewing or I guess one could view it as a kind of her response to him having given her the ring, or well, it wasn't a ring, but the the thing that symbolized a wedding ring or an engagement ring.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be that, but it kind of felt like a similar kind of token.
Yeah.
My last thing on Talas is, well, I guess just about her skill like with embroidery. I think she is exceptional at that. Considering that woman at the end of the volume wanted to buy her clothing, and and she seemed to produce like quite a lot of cloth also when she was like doing the embroidery in Ankara. I think she's probably like above average at that is my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything more?
No, that's all I have on Talas.
Then let's talk about Henry Smith next. So there was the proposal, which felt so good to finally see that after. Okay, I'm pretty sure that in volume three, when we talked about well, which basically portrayed like the tragedy of them meeting and sort of falling for each other in some way, but then being ripped apart. I remember
Mm-hmm.
I thought back then that this was just gonna be like remain a tragedy, and like this was gonna be
Right.
something that Henry would have to like live with and learn from, and kind of yeah. But for the actual proposal to happen here, it feels so good, and it's something like it's better than I could have imagined.
Mm-hmm. I like how adamant he was about marrying Talas. So she was saying, "I'll be your servant. I'll do whatever." He's like, "No, no, 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 please. That's
Right.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
I have every intention of marrying you." Um, but he's a little awkward,
Hmm.
and kind of a bit flabbergasted by the whole thing. But he gets it together, and he's like, "I, we're gonna do this. This is gonna happen."
Yeah.
And like you said, he gave it the ring and everything. So that was a great gesture, very Western gesture or a
Yeah.
European gesture, but
Right.
one all the same.
Absolutely.
I guess since uh, somewhat ties into this, I'll talk about the watch real quick.
Yeah.
So we had been speculating how would the watch come back into play, and the way it came back into play was not not the way I expected. Um, I mean, I did assume it would travel from person to person,
Hmm.
but I didn't think we'd actually see that journey. I
Right.
thought it would I thought it would somehow actually be a bad thing or a potential scary moment. Like, oh, the Russians see it and there's been an Englishman here. Oh,
Yeah.
but I wasn't even really attempting an accent there, by the way. I just
No,
went
no, no. I didn't
grunted.
think you were.
But anyway, but what we got was obviously funny and a fun adventure, as we said earlier.
Mm.
It would I do I, it would be nice if Henry were to get the watch back, but I
Mm.
guess it's also equally comedic that it just kept on going. It's like, I guess I'll never see that again.
Exactly. I thought that was really funny actually. Like
Yeah,
how like he reunited with the watch, but yeah, it just continued on its way, and who knows what else the pocket watch will experience from there on.
yeah, yeah. That was funny, and so I kind of made my amends with made my amends
Mm,
made my peace with the pocket watch not really being a plot point.
mm, mm.
Um, you know that it could be funny if it came back just randomly somehow
Again, yeah.
in the future. I actually think that'd be really funny,
I agree.
and
I
not even
agree.
get any preparation for it. Just all of a sudden it's there. He's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty funny. Maybe
Absolutely.
maybe it's like an ongoing gag. That'd be hilarious. Just what every once in a
Yeah.
while the watch just appears up in some ridiculous place.
Yes.
That'd be pretty great.
I would love that so
And there's like a
much.
new lore or something to go with it.
Precisely,
You're just
yeah, a
like,
new
what?
rumor or lore, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
But anyway, the reason why I brought it up with the whole ring thing is that I kind of wish it would have been an actual gift, like it would have returned to Henry as a gift to Talas. But
mm,
at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the guy comes from the wealthy family, and I don't know how much of an inheritance he has left, if any, um, or maybe he has a huge one. But I
yeah,
think they'll be fine. They'll be able to take care of each other, and
yeah,
it'll be good. It'll be good.
for sure.
Um,
Right. I'm I'm pretty confident that Henry and Talas have been through the worst by now.
yeah,
Maybe that's strange considering the story's probably not even close to over.
yeah.
So, but I'll stick with that statement for now at least.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily go there yet, but
Fair.
I think for sure it's set in stone that they are a couple.
Yes,
Um, one to be wed eventually.
for
Your
sure.
prediction last time about them getting married and where the Ahon family live is still on the table, technically
Yes,
speaking.
I'm holding on to that.
Yeah. Um, I guess just move on real quick.
Yeah.
It was fascinating to see the process of the old photography.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it uses that kind of a glass to do so.
Mm.
And obviously the liquid, but gunpowder was not the first way that they did it, or powder, whatever the powder. Do you remember ever seeing like old cameras that they had the poof when they take a
Oh,
picture or whatever?
isn't the
I,
poof the flash? Or maybe
well,
I don't know.
there's definitely some sort of powder. Look, this is just me like from watching movies or something. There's
Fair,
some
yeah. No, no, I
sort of
know what you
powder,
mean. I don't know really anything about it.
but that's not that wasn't the first iteration, or I don't even know if this is the first iteration, but this is
Yeah.
certainly older than that. And it's just wow, yeah, fascinating to think about how far photography has gone and how much of pain it was just to take a single photo.
Yeah, we are
Um,
really spoiled these days with taking
yeah,
photos.
it's so true.
Uh,
It's so true.
but yeah, yeah, but it was fun to see like see Henry struggling and learning how to use the camera was fun, and how he figured it out eventually as well. And of course it's lovely that his first photograph was of Talas, and I'm sure he's gonna treasure that photo forever.
Yeah, yeah. What would you like to take a photograph of? My wife.
Yeah, there's only one option.
My wife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a really nice part of this volume. I also really liked Talas's reaction to seeing herself on the photograph.
Yeah, that was also sweet.
That was really sweet. I looked like my
She
mother.
said she looked like Mother,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, that's nice. But wait, she's not your mother. She's
I think she was
your
referring to her, or well, I guess I don't
I mean,
know.
she must have been referring to her actual mother, but
Yeah, I
we
thought
only
so.
ever we only ever hear her say mother when she's referring to her mother-in-law or her former mother-in-law.
True, true.
So that's why I was kind of like, what? But surely she met her actual. mother.
I feel like she's gotta have, yeah. Yeah, and like who she is not well, we don't know if she's necessarily dead or whatever, but at least she doesn't live with her. Maybe she hasn't seen her biological mother in like a long time. So
Yeah.
I feel like that could have been a bit of a somber moment maybe for her.
Now that they're traveling, I mean, it doesn't seem like Talas to ask a selfish request like this. Although she did make a big selfish request of coming all the way to Ankara, so maybe
Mhm.
maybe she has it in her. But I don't know. Would it be way too taboo to go and visit your parents and for Henry to meet the in-laws? I don't
Right.
know. It could be fun.
That would be nice actually. I would like to see that.
I guess that's more of well, it's not really. I'm not necessarily predicting. I'm just saying that'd be nice. But I guess
Right.
I guess I could have saved that. But anyway,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. It was also pretty funny that Henry's horse was so interested in Talas's horse, but
I know. Whew.
what? But yeah, Chubar doesn't like Henry's horse much,
Nope.
apparently.
Nope. Hey, girl, you got to type stick to it. You got standards.
Yeah. At first I was trying to like find like if it was a metaphor for like
Right.
uh Henry liking Talas, but Talas not really liking Henry. But no, that's not at all the
Definitely
case.
not the
So
case.
so no, that doesn't hold up.
Definitely not.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I think Talas would be the one that is making moves on Henry.
Yeah, she's more
But
forward than him. Yeah.
exactly. But neither would ever, reject the other person at this point. Or even
No.
before, it didn't seem like. I guess Henry did kind of try to reject, kind of.
Yeah,
But
he was a little bit on the fence at the beginning.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who's. Can't really blame him. Hi, I just met you. Would you like to marry me?
Yeah.
Wow, there's
Uh,
still a lot to process.
absolutely.
Anyway, yeah, so yeah, that was funny. I think that's all I have on Henry.
Same. Then let's talk about his guide, Ali. He had some very funny parts in this volume, I thought. First, when he and Hawkins were arguing in different languages without understanding each other, but they were still arguing.
Yeah, yeah, that was so good.
That was really good. And
That fits their personalities pretty well.
it really does. Yeah, yeah. That was really great. Uh, and then, like, I think it was just a little after that, he was trying to keep everyone away from the camera when Smith was using it outside. It was also really funny to me.
hmm I mean, man just can't sit still. Just,
Yeah.
even when he's told to take a break, he's like, if I'm not moving, I'm not making money.
Uh huh.
So
Yeah.
he goes to do his thing. I mean, and to be fair, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong to an extent that mindset, particularly if it's just for yourself. It's just for yourself, and you're not harming other people. I think that's fine. It's when you force that mindset on other people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess your children are one thing, but coworkers or just people in general, that's when you kind of demoralizing them and things like that. But if it's for yourself within some bounds, then I think it's okay. And I think at this point Ali is somewhat in there. Um,
Yeah.
but I can't help taking a modern look at it and be like, he's not gonna overwork himself here, right? He's gonna burn himself. Is this a moment where he has to chill?
Right. That's fair. I was sort of thinking about somewhat similar things, but I'm also thinking like I think he's always been this restless. Like, sure, the money is definitely a motivation that he has because he wants to be able to afford to get married. Like, yeah, that's definitely a part of it. But I also think he just, as a person, has probably always been restless and kind of has to be doing activities. It's just the vibe I'm getting, and so absolutely that can lead to burnout. But so far, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
he seems to be doing well, and probably probably is doing well. uh,
Right.
but he's got no chill.
Yeah. I mean, look, whatever makes you happy and whatever you know gets you through the day, that's totally fine. Um, but once in a while it's fine to take a break, and maybe he'll learn that someday. But
Yeah.
uh, me saying that sounds like, oh, he needs to be fixed. I'm not necessarily saying that,
No, but it's
but
fair to be like concerned where I guess, because like mental health obviously I don't think was really much of a
yeah,
thing
right.
back in the day.
Uh-huh.
Uh maybe not anywhere on the planet. I don't know. Well, maybe it depends, but like for the most part, I'm sure especially back in the day it's not been acknowledged. So I guess it could be interesting to see that come to surface and having to deal with something that they don't really know much about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess we'll see.
Right.
But anything else on Ali?
I think that's it.
Then let's talk about Nikolovsky. So this guy we've seen before, but I hadn't connected this name to that phase until this volume. Um,
Oh, had we said the name before?
in the previous volume, at the very least, I know that Hawkins was mentioning
Oh.
Nikolovsky, but I didn't connect it to
Oh,
that
that's right.
character. Um,
Yeah.
and I guess I don't think we necessarily needed to, but now we know, and he's definitely become more prominent from this volume. And yeah, he goes pretty far back with Hawkins.
Yeah, all the way to the Crimean War.
Mm,
War companions or comrades or whatever how you want to say it.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, Nikolovsky is kind of the Middle Eastern or no, that part of the world mindset of hospitality and paying off your debts and things like that.
mm,
Uh, I guess it helps that all of his needs really are have been taken care of. His daughters are married,
yeah.
his wife is with family.
Hmm.
Not lonely, and they all understand. It's like, all right, you do your thing. The man saved your life. All right, say no more. Get out there. What are you doing here? Go.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and yeah, so it is interesting to see, and maybe that's not a thing as much anymore. But I've heard of stories of like that of just incredible loyalty for someone that saved your life.
Right.
Um, so anyway, it's pretty amazing.
It is like the fact that he refuses payment from Hawkins, like completely,
Yeah,
is crazy. but
it's
but
pretty
but
pretty
he
wild.
also apparently earns money in some unnknown way. I'm hoping we'll get to learn
He's a
just how.
spy. Yeah.
But Hawkins is planning on giving Nikolovsky his house in Ankara, whenever he ends up leaving there. So that is very nice, at least.
Yeah.
But that is really funny how like that was like the English government somehow got that house for Hawkins, and he I guess somehow can just do whatever he wants with it at this point. Like that would never happen these days. Like
No. No, that would not get lost in the paperwork or whatever. That would
yeah, no.
they would have
Yeah.
barriers. At least you would expect.
Right, yeah. But yeah, Nikolovsky decided to join Henry and the others partway on the journey from Ankara to Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. So that's as far as they'll go with him, at least according to the plan that exists right now.
Right. That's really all I have on Nikolovsky.
Right. Same here. And are there any other characters we want to discuss?
No, it's pretty straightforward this time.
It really is. Yeah, the characters were pretty focused in this one and whatnot. So very well. Let's talk about some of our predictions, whatever we got. Uh, I happen to know that the next volume cover has Anis and Shireen on it, so
Ah,
it seems likely that Henry and his party will reach them, I think, next volume,
wow.
based on that.
Yeah, I wonder if their journey back is going to be told quickly,
It
um,
could, I guess, could.
compared to how long it took to get to that point. I don't know.
Right.
Not that I mind if that were to happen. It could be interesting if we get back to the Ahons in only like 3 or 4 volumes
Right.
compared to the 10 volumes or so it took for Henry to get to Ankara.
Right. When did he? Was it volume 3? I guess you could say he left, right? So yeah,
It's either volume 2 or 3. Yeah, it was probably 3.
in 3 at least he met Talas for the first time,
Talas.
and that was
Yeah.
basically the same area I think as the Ahon town. Um, but yeah, definitely been plenty of volumes that he's been away, and there will at least be a handful more, I reckon.
I think he left at the end of volume 2. Now that I think about it, I think he left at the end of volume 2, went to the Talas's town,
Right, and we got stuck
and
there
then
for a
for some
bit.
reason,
Yeah,
Mir ended up there as well.
precisely, and Carlo.
Um, right, right. So yeah, no, so it looks like the journey might be a little bit quicker, or or no, scratch that. The the pacing, the story pacing might be a little bit quicker. Like there may not be as many detours to different brides as there were in the past, but
Yeah, we may not have a board game chapter on the return journey.
dang. So as far as the Talas's family knows, or at least the mother-in-law knows, Talas is dead, right?
Well, at least once the former husband gets back, at least from that
Yes.
point on, they will be under that
Right.
assumption. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever that happens,
Mm.
I'm sure it'll take a couple of or a month or two for that to actually happen, but eventually that I'm sure that will be the case.
Mm.
But my thinking is that what if Talis somehow reunites with her mother, whether she insists that they visit her, or or Henry takes says, why don't we do that, or something, and and it's like a brief chance encounter, or she just tries to go see her somehow while hiding her face or whatever.
Mm.
um and all that happens is that they have the reunion, and the mother-in-law is really happy, but the mom continues to act as if Talis is dead, like she kind of keeps it a secret,
Mm.
to let Talis live her life.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I think that'd be sweet.
I agree, and I had a very similar prediction myself, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes. um, I was, yeah. I mean, basically, well, I had two alternatives, I guess, to the because I was thinking about like the mother or mother-in-law, technically, or previous mother-in-law, whatever you want to define that as. Um,
Uh-huh.
it would be such a shame if she would, think that Talas died, and that it would end that way. So either something along the lines that you said, that they would somehow manage to meet, and Talas would be able to clear up the lie or whatever, just with her mother, or that maybe they could even somehow manage to bring her along with them, like to the Ahon family's town, or elsewhere, maybe, where they could live with her.
That'd be nice.
That is very nice. Maybe too nice.
But she's married to the uncle or the husband or whatever, right? Or
Yeah, you may be right. Maybe she was. um,
that was the whole reasoning behind, like, I'll find you a better husband, Talos.
that's true.
Now that I'm your surrogate father, or
Maybe
whatever.
he passes away. uh, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah. Like
Yeah.
either way, I want the mother to at least find out that Talas is not dead.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm. But yeah, I don't have any other predictions.
Yeah, I was pretty light on predictions this time around.
Mm.
Probably just because the content was pretty straightforward and only dealt with um, really Henry and Talas. But I'll throw out another one that just came to mind. What if? And I was just joking earlier, but what if Nikolovsky ends up being a spy, or like counterintelligence or something like that? Maybe that's how he's somehow makes his money. I mean,
Yeah.
I I don't want to seem like a guy can't have a side gig that's not nefarious. That's impossible. No, I'm not saying that. But it could be very juicy if that were to happen.
Actually, the more I'm thinking about it now, yeah.
But that said, it kind of goes against the whole hospitality, heart of paying off a debt culture that we were just praising.
Yeah.
So I go back and forth on it, but it would be very juicy plot point.
Right,
At the very
because
least.
if he was a spy, he would be getting information not just from, I guess, the area and the people from this area, but also from Hawkins, who is British, which could be all sorts of other types of information. So
Right. Right.
he's in a good position to be a spy.
Yeah, he is in a very good position, and you know, it's not like Hawkins is keeping tabs on him 24/7. He
Right.
kind of just calls for him when he needs him, and
Hmm.
he's more or less doing his own thing. Um, so and and who knows? Maybe if he is a spy, maybe it's not necessarily for Russia. Maybe it's for some nearby countries, and I don't
True.
know. It would be obviously more heartbreaking if it was for Russia, um, considering their current aggressions in the story.
Oh, I thought you meant current aggressions IRL, because
No,
that's also
I definitely was like I need to put the in the story and make sure that's clear.
this freaking Russia is always up to, well,
Damn, it's frustrating.
I'll make it clear. I have nothing against the Russian people. It's just Russia has a tendency of having
No,
leaders that are
yeah,
going a little too far.
yeah.
Uh,
Something about the Arctic Circle. Well, you got this Arctic Circle in Sweden, so I don't know. I don't know. Something about the potatoes over there.
I guess.
But look, America's not one to talk at this point. We're kind of all over the place. You know,
My
one
goodness.
one at one point we're condemning Russia. The next point we're making out with them, and now we're condemning them again.
Yeah. Well, but sorry, you were saying something about
well, just
here.
that I at the end of the day, I'm hoping that he's not a spy. Even though this
Yeah.
is called predictions, but
Hmm.
I do think that that could be a pretty fun twist to happen, and not necessarily be it a Russian spy, but just a spy for any of the nations around there. Because I'm not exactly sure what ethnicity or nationality Nikolovsky is.
Right.
I don't even know Nikolovsky is his actual name.
Eh,
Is that
right.
it kind of sounds, you know,
A bit Russian.
Russian, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well, but then I was like, no, he couldn't be, right? But and
I
like,
don't know.
even if he was a Russian spy, he wouldn't keep the Russian name. So like,
Doesn't make sense.
so
Uh,
so it can
well,
probably.
maybe he's half. Maybe
Oh yeah,
maybe we just can't. Maybe we can't really tell in the manga, but maybe he's part Russian, and that's why he's the translator interpreter that he was in. I believe that's what he was in
that's
the
right.
Crimean War.
That's right.
So maybe that explains his name.
I would like to learn a lot more about this guy.
He's very fascinating.
Yeah.
Very fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I have.
Great. Then comes a question which I think I know the answer to, because I feel like there may only be one clear answer, but
Yeah.
I don't want to judge. Who is the star of this volume for you?
Easily Talas.
Yes.
Easily.
Agreed. Yeah.
She's front and center in the on the manga, the volume cover, with Henry close behind. I mean, Henry did a lot of good things, of course, but it was about Talas's journey to reunite with her love, and it was very beautiful.
It really was. Yeah, getting to catch up with her and understand her, well, what's going on inside of her and all of that was great. And yeah, I'm really, really starting to enjoy her character. I used to be fascinated by her, I think, but now I'm really just enjoying her. But yeah, wonderful. But is that all for this episode?
I think that's it.
I think so too. Then, If you enjoy our podcast, please share it with your friends. You'll find links to our social media in the description. And you can support us by rating our show on the podcast platforms and subscribing to our channel, Umami Manga, on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about Volume 12. Bye-bye.
See you later. Yes. See you later.
And that was an accent.
That was my attempt. Pretty soon we all have to talk like this. We won't even learn Russian. We'll just we'll talk in Russian.
Wow, that's the result of the real Russian conquest.